Hey, what's going on? In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a gown with draped cowl sleeves. So let's begin. So using your basic sleeve pattern, you're just gonna draw a line from the center, and I'm gonna take my ruler and mark 2 inches down the sleeve, and I'm gonna use my marker and make a mark, and I'm gonna draw a line to connect the dots. Okay, and then I'm gonna go down from that point and do another 2 inches and make a mark and connect the dots. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep doing that, and I'm gonna do the same for the other side. So again, mark my 2 inch and then connect. You could either use a marker or a pen, whichever works best for you. And then after that, I'm gonna go down from the center of the sleeve and cut. I'm gonna be using the slash and spread method, and I'm just gonna easily cut all the way at the edge, not cutting off the whole thing, but just enough to where I can spread it widely. Okay, so this is how it's looking now, and now I'm gonna just tape this pattern onto some blank brown paper, and you can use whatever paper you have, and I'm just gonna tape this pattern down. So now I'm working on the facing, and I'm marking 2 inches from the shoulder and 2 inches down from the neckline, and I'm just making dashes through the neckline. And what I'm gonna do is connect. As you can see, I'm gonna connect both points using my ruler, and make sure you mark where your center back is or front, and where your shoulder is. So that's right there is my center back, and I'm just making sure it's 2 inches all around. Okay, this is how it looks. So I'm just perfecting the lines, and sometimes people choose to use bindings and different finishes like that, but I like facings a lot because it's just professional and it looks good on gowns, but everybody has their preferences. And I put my 1/2 inch seam allowance on the top and on the side of the shoulder, and I'm just putting in my information. So I'm doing this exact same thing for the front, and I'm tracing the neckline. And the shoulder. So 2 inches down on the center front and 2 inches for the shoulders, and then again I'm just gonna connect, and this is how it looks. Okay, so now I'm gonna pin and place this facing pattern onto the fabric on the fold, And the reason why I have the seam allowance on top is because we're going to be sewing that onto the neckline of the gown. And then the bottom, we're just gonna serge just to clean up the edges. So I'm just gonna cut it out. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing for the back, but this time it's gonna be two pieces. So I'm just cutting the fold so that it can be two pieces. This is how it looks. So now with my sleeves, I'm just gonna use my serger to sew the sleeves together. And as you can see, there's a shape on top of the sleeve, but I'm just gonna tack down at the corner of this sleeve so that I can have the drape effect. So I'm just using my serger, and this is how it looks, nice and clean. And now I'm gonna attach the back facing to the front facing. I'm gonna lay the slanted edge of the back facing to the front facing, and I'm just gonna put some pins there to hold it in place. And this is how it looks after it's sewn together. And now I'm just gonna serge the bottom without cutting off any fabric. I just want to sew it so that the edges can be clean. And this is how it looks. So now I'm gonna sew the shoulders of this gown, and then afterwards I'm gonna sew up the sides. So now I'm gonna install an invisible zipper, and I already marked how long I wanted the zipper to be. And now I'm just gonna place the zipper tape right on top of the neckline, and I'm not gonna trim it off or anything because it's gonna be hidden after I place the facing on it. So this is what it looks like, and I serged the back seams before placing that zipper on it. As you can see, the serged edges. And so if you need help sewing on a zipper, there's plenty of videos on YouTube, so don't even worry about that. I'm just showing you a quick version. I'm just pushing that curled end back so that I can sew right in it. So now I'm stopping right at my end point, and I'm just gonna backstitch and just do a couple back stitches. And this is how it looks. It looks really good. I'm really proud of this outcome because zippers can be pretty tricky. So with the excess zipper, I'm just gonna cut it off. So I'm gonna use my scissors and just cut it off, and just cut a little bit below where I wanted it to stop. And now I'm just gonna place that facing right on the neckline, and I'm just pinning all around. And you don't want to stretch it, you don't want to snag on it. You just leave it how it is and just place pins all around. And you see that tape right there? It's gonna be all covered up after I sew it with that 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that's how it would look. And any excess at the ends, I just trim it off. But this is how it's looking, so I'm gonna sew that 1/2 inch all around. So now I'm just doing a straight stitch all around and taking out the pins as I go, and make sure the shoulders is lined up, the shoulder seams are lined up, and I'm just going all around. And so after it's sewn together, I'm going to be making little snippets all around this neckline so that it can easily fold back.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna show you how it's done. So this is how it's looking. I'm just gonna cut little triangles all around. This is how it looks. So when I'm done, I'm gonna push all of that back so that I can do a top stitching right at the edge of the seam. So right there, 1/8 of an inch. I'm just cutting off any excess. So this is how it's looking right now, and I'm just gonna fold it when I'm done, and this is how it will look. And then I would hand stitch that closed. So this is me just sewing that 1/8 of an inch at the neck. You just want to take your time because you don't want it to look all crazy, even though it's going to be shown on the inside. But like I always say, you just want to make sure your work is nice and neat and not sloppy. So I'm just checking and I'm just going through. Okay, so after I'm done, I just folded the ends of the facing and I just folded it down onto the zipper, and this is where I'm going to hand stitch this opening closed. So I'm just gonna do a ladder stitch, and I'm just gonna sew it, and I sewed it over 2 times to make sure it's nice and sturdy and stable. And this is how it looks. It looks really good. This is how it's looking. And so afterwards, I like to just go up and down with the zipper. And you see a little pucker there, but when I wear it, I think it'll go away. So it's all good. I'm still practicing myself with zippers, so and this is how it looks. I really like the outcome of this finishing. So now moving on to the sleeves. So I'm just gonna put the sleeve inside of the dress, and I'm gonna place pins all around. And it's going to be right side of the sleeve to the right side of the dress, and I'm just going to sew all around using my serger. And this little trick I do is by using a lighter, I just lock in those stitches with those threads that hang out, and then I put the dress on the dress form, and I'm just cutting out any excess fabric and cutting it into a circular shape. And I'm gonna do the same for the other side so that it can be circular all around. And then I'm using horsehair, which I'm not really a fan of the look of horsehair on gowns, but you know, I gotta use it sometimes. So this is about 2.5 inches wide of the horsehair, and I'm just sewing it on top of the outside of the gown. And this is the bottom of the dress. So I'm sewing 1/4 inch all around. So this may take some time, and I used about 4 yards of horsehair. And this is the soft kind, which I really don't like because it just moves and wiggles. And here I'm just sewing at the top of the horsehair about 1/8 of an inch, just to really stabilize that horsehair. And I just go all around. And so this is how it's looking. This is the finished result. So I'm going to show you the sleeve, how it looks. It's nice and draped. It's not my favorite sleeve, but I think it looks pretty good. And it's just draped. I didn't sew the insides of that draped sleeve because it's not going to show anyway. And this is how the back looks. This is how the inside looks, nice and clean and professional. Looks really, really good. So that's all for this video. I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more gown tutorials. See you next time.